All right, we're live. We're gonna be talking about a few things, and I have other face with me. I put your links and everything in the description, so
Lovely.
people can actually find you
Yeah, thank you for having
and
me.
yeah, and harass you. I'm just kidding. Um,
It's
and
because I'm a woman on the internet.
yeah, and since you're here and you're from Britain, I thought we could talk about stupid British laws.
hmm
Um, and oh, I can screen share so we can.
Yeah, we can read together. Yeah, I've just been like browsing through the links. I know there's one of the ones
The,
I'm really interested in is the petition to change the legal definition of rape. I know this particular thing actually had a response, and I'm planning on making a video um, in response to the government's reaction to this. It was absolutely bollocks. Basically they acknowledged that women could rape men, but they still kept it the same because it was basically like this happens more often to this group of people. So we don't believe we should change it. I think that's how it is. I've set up a script for it, but
yeah. Because this is a year ago. I just pulled up an article, and seeing that people actually want to change this should actually be something that politicians should take notice of.
it
So
absolutely should, because again, the language is very gendered. Like for example, Section 1 makes it an offence for a person A intentionally to penetrate with his penis the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person without that person's consent if A does not reasonably believe that B consents. Obviously that says that the person will be charged. No, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of how to word it. But basically, it's only rape when a man does it. That's what it seems like to me, because it says intentionally with his penis and vagina and his own mouth of another person. So basically, the problem with this thing is it sets it up as if only men can be the rapists, and only women can't be rapists at all, which is disgusting. And it's disgusting that the government keep shutting down, because there's been plenty of petitions like this, and they all have the same response if they actually get past 10,000 signatures. And it's basically like, yeah, we know that women can do this, but we're not going to. It's such a. I don't know why people aren't more outraged by it, because all the
yeah,
people all the men who have all the victims who the male victims of female rapists, um, they're suffering really, because they're not going to get really anything, because it's not going to be under the law. It doesn't seem like it's going to be
it's
considered rape
gonna be
because
assault. I mean, it's just gonna be assault. It's not gonna be termed as rape.
yeah, I think a while ago, I think it was half a year ago or maybe a year ago, there was a story of these three women, and they raped a man, and I don't think they got away with it, but if it was the other way around, it would have been life sentence. If it was a three guys raping some woman, it would have been, rightly so, it would have been life sentence, and all that stuff. But with these three, I'm gonna have to look for it, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to.
mean,
I remember I've got to, because I had to delay my video for this because Parliament had shut down because of the whole general election thing. But I've actually
yeah,
got my ideal way of my ideal I think my how I want it to read out. Basically, I'm scrolling through, but yeah, it's just yeah, it's horrible.
yeah. And here in the article, the petition suggests that under British law, only men can be convicted of rape, and any sexual offences committed by women are seen as acts of sexual assaults, which carry a lighter sentence. It also states that rape, to be equal, must be gender neutral, which I also support. Here, Section 1 makes it an offense for a person A intentionally to penetrate with his penis the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person, B without that person's consent, if A does not reasonably believe that B consents.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you on a British law currently, you cannot you cannot be raped if you're a man just sexually assaulted.
Hmm.
And here, the OED defines rape as the act or crime committed by a man of forcing a woman to have sexual intercourse with him against her will, especially by means of threats or violence.
But I've seen people sort of get around. People have tried to get around this by saying like, "Oh well, it male victims of rape aren't totally thrown to the side." But and I'm like, well, yeah, because again, it's still because this it's still assuming that if a man rapes a man, yeah, that's obviously going to be considered rape by the definition. But what people have a problem with is if a woman rapes a man, which is which is possible even, which is possible, and by forcing to penetrate. I think it's forcing to penetrate, isn't it? Forcing to penetrate or forced envelopment. I think
Intentionally to penetrate.
yeah, yeah, and that's the thing that people have a problem with, and I'm trying to look for what my ideal
I mean,
thing.
this is an anecdote, but I was talking to someone actually regarding this, and that person said that with a straight face in the discussion I had it on Facebook that men who got raped it wasn't as serious as a woman being raped with a straight face.
Hmm. Uh, yeah. I've just found my. This is how I would want the law to be read. I would want. This is how I want to see. The penetration slash envelopment, no matter how slight, of the vagina slash penis, and the penetration of the anus with any body part or object, or oral penetration by a sex organ of another person without the consent of the victim. That's how I want to see it, because again, that's including, you know, being forced to penetrate and development and all that stuff. That's how personally I think it should be pushed. Really, yeah, I found the script on it, and basically to that petition that we're looking at, the way they responded to it was. The Sexual Offences Act 2003 protects both men and women from serious sexual offending. We are committed to tackling sexual offending in all its forms. All non-consensual sexual penetration is dealt with by specific serious offences, including those who can be committed by a man or a woman. For example, the offence of assault by penetration carries the same maximum penalty as rape. The sentence available under the Act for all sexual offences the sentences available under the Act for all sexual offences are significant and reflect the seriousness of the offending. Issues surrounding the definition of rape were considered both in the Setting the Boundaries consultation published prior to the introduction of the Sexual Offences Act 2003 and during the passage of that legislation through Parliament. In the consultation, there was a considerable amount of agreement that rape should remain an offence of penile penetration, but that the definition be extended to include penile penetration of the mouth. It is true that rape under Section 1 of the Sexual Offences Act 2003 is in the majority of cases committed by a man, but there are also rare exceptions, for example, when a woman is actively involved in the commission of a gang rape. We therefore have no plans to amend the legal definition of rape in the Sexual Offences Act 2003, as suggested by this e-petition. No, I think that's absolutely not, because basically they are acknowledging that women can do this. But because it's in the majority of cases committed by a man, they want to keep it as it is. I think that's disgusting. And it's even more disgusting because they are aware that women can be involved in these things. And it just makes me
Yeah.
sick. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where this kind of come from or from. I don't know if it comes from malice or ignorance or maybe a combination of both. But because, I mean, there was also a case. I think it was 15 years ago, and I saw for a person actually suing here in Norway for being raped. He was a man, and there was another defense lawyer actually went on TV and said he should have just enjoyed it and shut up about it. And
Mm.
that really kind of like really that
Yeah.
was kind of when I had my eyes open. I can't remember if he actually won the case, but he went through a lot of stuff through the TV because people were basically mocking him for getting raped because he was a man by a woman.
Mm. It's just it's just I just don't know. I just don't know why they would refuse, because this petition that they talk about was reject. Well, not, yeah, reject. Well, it was, yeah, it was rejected in a way. Um, I just don't know why you would, because again, you would. It's just for me. It's just like I've said. I'm repeating myself, but it's the fact that they know and they're aware that this is a thing that can happen with women to men. It's it's just
I mean,
irritating.
yeah, I mean, people would be outraged if this was reversed.
Mm,
I mean, if
absolutely.
there wasn't a rape definition for women. I mean, this is kind of the reverse to what they have in the Middle East, where a woman has to have what three people testifying if she was raped. It's basically the like for men the same here. So it's kind of tragic.
It's just well, it's sexist really, because again, it's assuming that only men. Well, in this law, under the legal definition of rape, it specifically says a penis needs to be forced into the vagina or the anus or the mouth, and it's just I yeah, again, it's just irritating.
I mean,
Like,
here it's very concise here in the petition. In the legal definition of rape, it requires the penis and must be penetrative, making it so only men can be convicted of rape. Women can penetrate a man with sex toys and force penetrate and can only be done for sexual assault, which carries a lighter sentence. Rape
mm,
to be equal must be gender neutral. Yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
I agree, 100%.
All right, let's move on to the next one, where in I'm sure you have heard about this one.
Hmm.
Nottinghamshire police to count wolf whistling in street as hate crime.
Yeah, it's just dumb. It's because again, when it comes to guys following you and being really annoying, like and harassing in that way, if they're really really like going creep, like trying to like following you and stuff, there's already laws that are in your favor. So it just seems like a very unnecessary um thing, really, because if some guy's like stalking you and following you and like you're saying all these things to you, again, you can go to the police and say, "Hey, this guy's stalking me, and he's saying all these things to me. I'm a bit scared," and so it just seems like an unnecessary addition.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
because if you wanna stop men talking to women at all, I mean, just saying hello at a bar could be this sort of catcalling or wolf whistling or whatever. I
yeah,
mean, like men are gonna be scared just to approach women for of being accused of hate crimes just for talking to women.
yeah.
I
There's
mean,
a part of me that thinks that, like, I'm sure, like, are going to be, because again, this is all a while ago, so there could be changes since then. But there's a part of me that likes to think that thinks like they're probably not going to go after like innocent guys who just whistle at a woman and that's it. I'd like to try, because I always try to play devil's advocate, and I always think like maybe they're just focusing on people who are really persistent and really like actually stalking you. But
Yeah, but
the problem with that there is that that is all still, you didn't need a new law. Like this is all something that you could still, hey, this is how I'm getting stalked by this person. I'm a bit scared here. Can you help me with this? And so again, the reason why I don't understand this whole law is that it just seems like there's already laws in place already that would protect a woman from this kind of thing.
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, you still have harassment. I think the best way to actually, if this is happening in the street, and there are no police officers around, film it, and then afterwards go to the police and report it.
Mm.
I mean
Yeah,
that's the best way to, but it would still be under harassment and stalking. I believe.
yeah. So that's why it just seems unnecessary to have just what it's misogyny law, isn't it? Or it's literally just called misogyny, isn't it? Like what a whole separate category, I think. Um,
Yeah, here is a quote. It's a very important aspect of the overall hate crime work being conducted, and one that will make Nottinghamshire a safer place for all women. What women face often on a daily basis is absolutely unacceptable and can be extremely distressing.
hmm.
Here, understanding this as a hate crime will help people to see the seriousness of these incidents and hopefully encourage more women to come forward and report offenses.
Because I think this really does depend on the person, I guess. Because I mean, some people like being catcalled, but at the same time, like there are people who really like go start like following you and all that. So maybe that's what it is. Because at the same time, I could just imagine this being abused, sadly, by people who will have like a vendetta against, or not vendetta, have a grief. Sorry, even another word that I can't. Like just someone who has like a problem with someone else and could just throw this out at them. And that's I think that's the main problem people had with it. But there's a part of me that thinks like it might just be they might just be focusing on prove on things that are proven to be more than just like, hey baby, you look hot today, and like whistling and all that.
Yeah, I hope really that is not the case. But I mean, there was someone recently sentenced for causing, what was it? Uh, no, that was in the, or was it in the UK? There was someone for against religion, hatred against religion.
Mm.
Wasn't that? It's Sussex. It was in Sussex,
I think
where
not
one
too long.
person was sentenced for inciting hatred against the religion. I mean, these laws can be used for bad if
Yeah,
they are interpreted
yeah, they
wrong.
could. Again, they could, but like I said before, like I like to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're not going to be going after guys who literally just like go to a woman. I think they probably just they're going to go for the more aggressive ones that like but I like it. I don't know. At the same time, someone might think someone might see someone going woo woo as aggressive, which is what the problem, which is why people have a problem with it. But yeah, I've not really seen what the update is for this, so for all we
Yeah.
know, it could have just been wiped off.
I mean, and the last part of this article is kind of telling. Rachel Chris, co-director of the End Violence Against Women Coalition, said it is great that police in Nottingham will be capturing the way a lot of harassment in public spaces is targeted at women and girls. In a recent poll, we found that 85% of women aged 18 to 24 have experienced unwanted sexual attention in public spaces, and 45% have experienced unwanted sexual touching, which can amount to sexual assaults.
Hmm.
Uh, this level of harassment is having an enormous impact on women's freedom to move about in public space, as it makes women feel a lot less safe. The women we spoke to do a lot of work to feel safer, including avoiding parts of the city they live in, taking taxis, and leaving events in groups. Uh, Chris said recording such incidents would give police and policymakers a much clearer grasp on the levels of harassment women and girls are subjected to and better understand measures which could reduce it. Yeah, as I said, you should record it. You should
Yeah,
also challenge the idea that women and girls in public or online spaces are fair game, she added. We know that ignoring harassment and sexist bullying creates the impression that other types of violence against women will be tolerated, so we welcome any action which counter this. I mean, there isn't really that much I disagree with. I would
mm,
like to know where these numbers are from and how many answered this. But other than that,
yeah,
I don't really have an issue as long as if you're getting harassed in public space, you should record it. And if the police find this to be a harassment case, you should report it.
yeah.
But
I
I don't.
agree.
I mean, but you don't need an extra law just to
Yeah, it
enforce
just seems.
this. Because
Yeah,
I'm seeing this all over the West now. You have in Canada with the Bill C-16 with the gender expression. You have New York with these. If you use the wrong pronoun, you can get a fine, and all of this like anti rape stuff and all these campaigns, he for she. I mean, the Canadian Prime Minister is for that campaign, and I'm seeing this all over the place. I mean, uh, I there should be a balance to this stuff when they're writing these laws, and right now the balance is a little too much in favor of women, which can be
mm,
abused. I mean, just look at how many rape cases. I've seen so many rape cases of women accusing men. The worst one was, I think a woman accused 16 men of rape, and all of them were false.
mm.
And one of them was 8 years in jail. So I mean, there should be due process as well. If someone rapes, they should of course, oops, they should of course go to jail. The
Mm.
no discussion about it. But like when we see like Cologne and all that stuff there, I mean, the that type of stuff gets ignored when it's legitimately because it isn't type of a narrative which feminists like.
Mm.
Ah,
Oh. It
this is depressing. Sorry
is.
about. And here we have the other one, the third one I wanted to talk about, um, and it's a little bit older, but I mean, what the hell is the the UK government or the state has become really
Yeah,
Puritan.
it's just like with all this whole thing. As long as like it's between two consenting adults, then I think the government should just you know.
Fuck
I mean,
off.
yeah, fuck off.
Yeah,
That's
because
what it's like spanking. What's wrong with some people like getting spanked? Some people like that. That's the thrill. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
Caning
spanking.
again. People like caning. Aggressive whipping. People like BDSM and all that stuff. Penetration by any object associated with violence.
What does that even mean?
I guess
I
just
mean,
like penetrated by like a sex toy or something. I mean, like some people like
maybe a
that. Some people
baseball
like getting.
bat. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that one. I mean, I'd have to. Well, I don't want to really see what that means. That
Yeah, but
sounds awful.
that would be on top of my head, like associated with violence. A baseball bat.
Like, yeah,
Doesn't.
if someone's like, shoving a baseball bat up your tranny or whatever, and that's not very nice. I mean, if they like it, I guess, but
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't. I mean, physical and verbal abuse. Some people like dirty talk, so I don't know what's wrong with that. Water sports.
really,
People like doing it in the water. If people like doing it in the water, then why not? Role playing is non adults. That is kind of weird, I guess.
it is weird, but still, as long as they're of age and
Okay.
it's a physical restraint, humiliation, female ejaculation, strangulation, face hitting, fisting. Now let's
Again,
go through each of them. Like spanking, like
yeah, some people like that. That's some people like the thrill of that like little moment of pain. I guess I've just a lot of them fall under BDSM. So since the BDSM community are quite fucked. Well, literally, well, not literally in this case.
yeah, but
Um,
this goes all back to like if it is and when this goes to porn like
mm,
well, why would they care if two people that are basically getting paid to do this and are consenting and have this as a job and are not allowed to do this because the government are basically saying, oh, you can't do this because uh, we find this apprehensive. Like,
I don't. Well, the reasons that they give is potentially life endangering.
yeah, yeah.
But again, like if it's between two consenting adults, then then that should be fine. They should leave them alone.
As long as you don't end up in the hospital afterwards, maybe you've taken it too far. But as long as like afterwards, one of the people involved doesn't want to sue the other person,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
then
It's just one of those stupid, pointless laws that
yeah, and
yeah, just
caning goes the exact same way as spanking. Like, let people do whatever the hell they want. Aggressive whipping, those are all kind of goes on the same umbrella
yeah.
term.
Some people like pain. Some people like that thrill of getting like whipped and that. And I don't think I've seen anything where like someone's bleeding to death getting whipped
Yeah,
through that kind of thing. And I'm pretty
that's
sure like no one would
yeah,
allow that kind of
would
thing.
I would consider it as to be dangerous, and yeah, that would be taking it too far.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like if someone filmed someone beating someone else to a bloody pulp with a whip, I don't think that would be allowed on anywhere. Well, probably would be allowed in some places, I guess, but like I think in any, I don't know, it for the most part, I guess like all this stuff is either very light beating or it's hard but not
Yeah,
bleeding and
maybe weird
all
some for some people, but I mean penetration with by any object associated with violence. I mean
that.
that's a little bit weird, but still, I mean if you're getting off to it, like Jesus, let them. And this
Yeah,
one kind of gets me. Like, where is the what is the definition of like abuse? Like, if
yes,
there is it's like dirty talk. Like,
yeah, some people like that whole like, oh yeah, you're dirty, that kind of thing, and that's some people like that, some people don't. It's like, that's where it should end. Some people do it, some people don't. It's like what's
I mean, wouldn't like tickling or something like that go on a physical abuse? I mean,
I mean, physical abuse and humiliation probably are go fall into the same thing.
yeah.
And again, people like humiliation stuff. Some people like listening to someone like saying, "Oh yeah, you got a little dick," and like there are people who like that. There are
I
people who
mean,
like all that humiliation stuff. And
you have the dominatrixes, and you have
yeah,
also women that like to be dominated. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. It just seems pointless. Maybe there's something that maybe someone somewhere is making a, an understandable point because I always tried to think like they must have pushed it through for a reason, but I can't think of anything that like I don't know. The only thing that like I can kind of understand, but it's like consenting adults, I guess, is the only one I'm like a bit about is the role playing as non-adults. But like you said before, like if it's between two consenting adults, then it's like I don't know.
And here the water sports stuff, like other than being like really unclean, I'm personally not into water sports. But like if you're into this,
Yeah,
you should be able to do this and be sure to take a shower afterwards.
yeah.
that that would be my advice if you're doing this. But like yeah, and I think what this role playing as non-adults is they're afraid of this whole like lolly stuff and
Yeah.
people portraying themselves as younger than they are with being pedophiles. But
Yeah.
if it says before the on the cover or before the video starts, if it says that you're an adult, all of these are adults and they consented or whatever under
Mm.
these laws, then they should be allowed.
Yeah,
Um,
I can sort of see where their argument would be for that particular one though. I can
yeah,
definitely see the rationale.
I can
Um,
see the
really.
rationale, but it's still like I know there's a lot of discussion on this
Mm.
lolly stuff, but
Yeah.
I consider that it's better to have this or even adults disguising themselves as non-adults than actually children doing this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
If a
Absolutely.
hemophiliac or a pedophile gets off to this stuff, I would rather have them get off to this stuff rather than actual child
Hmm.
pornography. And that's where they don't see the problem with this stuff is that this can actually make things better. These pedophiles can actually have an outlet.
Physical restraint. Again, like some people like getting held down.
Yeah,
It's
or like handcuffs or being tied down or whatever. I mean,
because like it's the whole thing as well. Like, because a lot of people have like, like rape fantasies and all that stuff, and people like the whole physical restraint thing when they're doing what they're doing. So again, it's well for the rape fantasies, it's still consensual, but like it's the whole physical restraint thing. It's
as long as
consensual.
they have like a safe
A
word or
safe
something.
word, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Humiliation. I mean, that goes under, or is that basically what you were talking about
Yeah,
earlier with
it
an
kind
oh
of
you have a
goes.
tiny dick?
Yeah, it's kind of like it kind of falls into the verbal abuse a little bit. Like I've heard of like humiliation ones where like yeah they say like oh you've got a small dick you'd never be able to please me with that, and some people like that whole thing. I personally don't. I don't see why, but some people like that, and yeah.
Yeah, and I personally think if you can see this and that you get an outlet, if it's better to have an outlet where it's safe rather than
Mm.
trying it unsafely on your own. And this one
Yeah,
is the most regressive when I think
yeah.
back on this and seeing this like female ejaculation, like Jesus Christ, people.
It's just yeah, it's a bit odd. Like so, because can you male ejaculation's okay, I guess, but can't do
Eh,
female.
I mean, this is really regressive. Are you now saying, oh, women can't have an orgasm because yeah, you think it's what? Life endangering? Like that doesn't make any freaking sense.
Yeah, I don't know what the life. I don't know what the female ejaculation thing is really. Well, I don't know how that could be life endangering. Strangulation, I guess I can see that. Face sitting, yeah, I guess I can see what it could be life endangering. But I'm pretty sure when people
Yeah,
like,
I mean, as
um,
long as you, same as it goes with fisting, like
yeah,
do
you
it
just
with moderation and don't choke the person or like yeah.
I'm pretty sure these people who like professionals and they know what they're doing in UK porn. Um, they know when to
Perhaps
stop.
yeah,
they know
yeah,
when the limit is.
or perhaps it'll do like some smaller restrictions, not ban it outright. Like say fisting, you're only allowed to do with a glove,
Hmm.
something like that. That would a condom glove basically, or
Yeah.
facing. You're only allowed to show or do it like 30 seconds at a time, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, have some
Yeah,
sort
but
of safety rules around this instead of like outright banning this,
mm,
which is just it is so regressive to me. And just putting all these three together, talking about first of all the male rape thing, then the dog whistling or cat calling, and this one. It seems to me that some of the laws are really regressive
mm.
regarding the Britain or UK. I mean, it seems to be very authoritarian. I don't know if it's just this government you've been having the last few years, or I don't know. How
It's
have you kind of lived there? How do you think people have reacted to this?
well, it's Tory, isn't it? So it's not surprising.
No,
It's not
not
really
really.
surprising. It's very conservative. It's not very surprising under a conservative government, really. And yeah, it's just again, I'm not surprised under a conservative government. I'd imagine they're again. I'm sure there's plenty of conservatives with great sex lives, but I'm sure it just I don't know, like when I think of conservative politicians, I think of very when it comes to their sex lives, which I don't think much of. Um, I imagine their whole stuff is very vanilla.
Yeah,
But again, it's just the government reaching out too much to reaching out, uh, controlling people who are consenting adults, and I don't imagine we're aware of what their of where the line is because they're adults. I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean,
They're professional, not adult, but like professionals even.
yeah, and Um, this also comes afterwards. I saw that Theresa May was all about talking about now restricting more internet
Mm,
regarding like Islamophobia and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff, which kind of like boggles my mind.
yeah. It's because I can see where she's coming from because like the a lot of these people like operate online and all that. I can see where it is, but at the same time, it's like I don't feel it's good to risk everyone's you know freedoms on the internet just because of Islamic terrorists. I don't know. It just seems like I just don't think we should be giving up like civil liberties or anything like that. Um, just for terror, for like for terror. It just seems like you're bowing down. You're taking away your freedom. The terrorists taking away your freedoms, and I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to do it, and I don't think it probably make any impact. I think Tim Farron, who is the Liberal Democrat leader in the UK, he made a good point about it. I'm just gonna look for it. Internet freedom, terrorism. Yeah, yeah. He basically said like, Tim Farron warns of win for terrorism if web is made surveillance tool. I'll just put the link in the. Yeah, put it on the side. Okay. Yeah, he's saying Theresa May's pledge to curb radical jihadists by regulating internet is risks to freedom and civil liberties. 100% agree. Theresa May's pledge to regulate the internet to clamp down on the safe space for radical jihadists risks turning the web into a tool for surveillance and censorship. Tim Farron likening May's plan to North Korea and China's state monitoring, says the Prime Minister's speech had been highly political despite the ostensible cancellation of campaigning for a day ahead of the general election. These issues aren't going to be solved with political gimmicks or by banning particular technologies. Instead of posturing, politicians need to work with technology companies like Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp to develop solutions that work to keep people safe. Now, I'm sure people will probably argue, about Facebook and Twitter and all that, but I 100% agree with them. Instead of censoring and and restricting people's civil liberties on the internet. Instead, we should just engage more with these technology companies on how to crack down on these things without, you know, curbing people's freedoms on the web.
Yeah, I mean, you should rather look at. I mean, these tech companies, like, you shouldn't be surveilling everyone. You should do it in certain instances. If you have a Facebook group saying death to the entire West, maybe you should
Mm.
keep an eye on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Like
you should.
things like that.
It's one of the, if you see something that looks suspicious, it's like, yeah, definitely get someone to check it out, because for all you know, it could be like a jihadist thing going on. Or it could be, yeah, I definitely agree. If you see something, report it, I guess. But at the same time, I don't think people's internet should be restricted, or I don't think people's freedoms on the internet should be restricted. Like, you know, just innocent people who aren't doing anything bad. I don't see why. I don't understand why people would. I don't see. I think it will. I don't see why people should, you know, have innocent people who have done nothing wrong should have their civil liberties on the internet censored.
Yeah, here the next paragraph, which you were about to talk about, is very important. I think so far the most important one. The alternative is a government that monitors and controls the internet in the way that China or North Korea does. If we turn the internet into a tool for censorship and surveillance, the terrorists will have won. We won't make ourselves safer by making ourselves less free. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I 100% agree with Tim Farron here.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it just surveilling everyone is just a bad idea, because first of all, you have so much data where you don't even know where to begin,
mm,
and you need an algorithm, and that algorithm can always be wrong, and you're wasting so much time on stuff you don't need to, that you could have selectively done better.
mm.
And yeah, and like the London mayor who said that they couldn't watch basically people who went on jihad in Syria and came back home. He didn't have the resources or to follow them,
Or
even
had the
though they.
resource. He had the resources to crack down on like hate posts or whatever. He had enough stuff to do. That's one of the things where I respect Piers Morgan for, because he actually really did go after Sadiq Khan for that, and Sadiq Khan looked like a little puppy being told off when that was happening. But yeah, it's amazing. Like we don't have the it's like we don't have the men or the ability to go after these 400 people, but we have plenty of money to spare when it comes to quote unquote hate posts on Facebook again, and
And
it's
Islamophobia.
and Islamophobia. Like we've got plenty of money for that, but when it comes to jihadists, oh, the money suddenly disappears.
Yeah, same
Oh,
goes as for these stupid laws like the Nottingham thing. You have time and money and energy to make those laws, but you don't have time to help men who have been raped. And I don't know how well funded it is in the UK, but you should also have like male domestic violence shelters or rape shelters as well.
absolutely. I'd love to be able
Because
to I'd love to be able to like buy a house and like set up my own thing here, but it's just for me it'd just be like money. That'd be my problem.
yeah, and I I've also seen that there has been so much more funding for breast cancer compared to prostate
Prostate.
cancer. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which the mortality is really low with breast cancer now compared to prostate cancer
Mm-hmm.
and testicle cancer as well.
Cray,
Uh,
cray.
yeah,
The world's crazy.
yeah. So I think we talked about our topic. Is there anything you want to mention? I have so many links, and I didn't know where to start when we talked about this. So Uh,
I'll just roll with whatever tab you've got up.
yeah.
Uh, I'll try and yeah, I'll roll with what you've got.
Um, because
We've got
um,
the we got the superhero thing. We got Patreon. Sign on to Patreon. Whatever you fancy.
I mean, we can just quickly cover this at the end of the stream. I don't know how long we've been going for the. Yeah, we can cover this and then close it up.
Okay.
Um, yeah, Mike dot Mike or Mike dot com, whatever. What's the address?
Yeah,
Mike dot
Mike.
com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Patreon is investigating the YouTuber Sargon of Akkad over Anita Sarkeesian VidCon harassment. Okay, let's dive into this bullshit. Um, Patreon, the popular online crowdfunding, is currently investigating a YouTube personality called Benjamin, more commonly known as Sargon of Akkad, for potentially violating its code of what?
Well, the whole it's updated now, and Patreon have
Yeah,
said
no,
nothing's wrong. But
I just want to get the reasoning for this.
mm,
For potentially violating its conduct through his behavior at VidCon, a Patreon representative confirmed to Mike, because of what happened at VidCon, it has been on our radar. So we have been looking into it, said Molly Starr, head of communications at Patreon. If Patreon's investigation finds that Benjamin has indeed violated its code of conduct, it may issue him a warning or potential shutter his account entirely. If the latter occurs, Benjamin stands to lose on the 5,725 per month he currently makes through his Patreon account. Wow.
it's bullshit, really. Like just going after the guy's money because they've
I
got
mean,
nothing else. I guess I don't
I guess
know. It's just
Anita
it's just
Sarkeesian has made money through bullshit, and nobody's going after her money.
yeah, because everyone's afraid of her. Like that is genuine. I think that is genuine. The reason why no one questions Anita that much. The reason why Hank Green technically kind of apologized to Anita Sarkeesian. The reason why also is because they're afraid of it. They know that Anita Sarkeesian has power. She has a lot of power. She has been involved in a few games. Like the game, like the reason why they're making the deal. No, the reason why they made the second the protagonist of the second Dishonored game, a woman, is apparently because of her. And then there was another, and then there was the second Mirror's Edge game, which apparently Promise Frequency worked on. But
Well,
aside from that, like people like
she
her,
didn't
they
work on
do
it.
have power.
I mean, she didn't work on it,
She's
but she consulted on it for sure. I think
yeah, I think it was that.
she
But
visited
yeah,
her
like
dice at least. Yeah.
yeah, the reason why yeah, they're afraid. You can tell everyone is afraid of Anita because Anita can say something and say this is sexism, and people will listen. Like
Yeah.
Hank Green will listen. Hank Green will for some reason apologize to her because oh we're sorry that you had to deal with that, and I'm like nothing happened. He just sat there. I mean, I can understand why it might have come across as intimidating, but he literally just sat there menacingly. um, but it's dumb. And again, it just shows that people who think like Anita, they have such a vice-like grip on the gaming industry, on like places like VidCon, and it's
Yeah.
hopefully people will start pointing that out. Like I think what's going to really start, I think it's going to start like going downwards for her because of how she treated Buggy 2988, the nicest guy on YouTube.
Yeah.
She apparently like shouted at him and like swore at him and made him feel anxious. And if you are the type of person who someone feels anxious around, or if it's obvious that people feel anxious around you, you have to look at yourself and realize, maybe. I mean, I don't expect Anita to do that, any kind of self reflection and that kind of thing, but you've got to realize, like, you make people, Anita, I'm saying this as she's like right here, but like she has to realize she makes people nervous because people know that if they say something out of turn, if they say something wrong about Anita Sarkeesian, or if they just say anything that she deems like is an offense to her, they might lose a part of their they might lose their money, they might lose their Patreon, they might lose some kind of influence in wherever, and that's probably why Hank Green was so like, um, bending down and kissing her feet. It's just sad. The whole thing is just really sad.
Yeah, here, this quote, VidCon denounced Benjamin's behavior at the panel as well, saying that regardless of his intention, it looked like intentional intimidation to most people in attendance. Furthermore, VidCon apologized for not having been more aware of and active in understanding the situation before the event, which resulted in Sarkeesian being subjected to a hostile environment that she had not signed up for.
It's just he was just sitting there again. Like I said, I've said this 10 billion times. I can see where she might be coming from with the whole intimidating thing, but they were just sitting there and they intended to, like, I've heard a few videos from them now, and they're saying like they were saying we didn't want to talk, we just wanted to sit there, not say anything. And I think Computing Forever actually said that they were actually going to applaud her because I think Dave Cullen said to Sargon, he said if she gets through this while we're sitting here and does
I think
nothing.
they made a bet. I think they made a bet.
Yeah, they made a bet. Like if she doesn't like make a big thing, like go misogyny, then they'll clap and all that. Well, obviously that never
Yeah.
happened, but she should have just ignored them and just if they are these if she thought these people as horrible, awful people, she should have just ignored them. Like, why would you give people who you don't like the time of day? Like, and especially and calling someone a garbage human when you're on a panel about like harassment or whatever. It's mad. The world's mad. You have to laugh at these things, or else you go. You have to laugh at all these crazy things, or else you go crazy yourself.
Yeah. Here, any creator caught in the act or convicted of making credible violent threats, committing violent crimes, malicious doxing, committed non-violent harm, such as fraud or encouraging others to the aforementioned harmful activities, may be banned using Patreon. Well, he didn't do any of this.
Well, to do any of that, so and I think Patreon, and I think they updated it, so and Patreon said there was no reason for them to do anything.
Yeah, and
So
I just
yeah,
find all of this really, really ironic when Anita Sarkeesian was on a panel against women and online and harassment, and she was the one throwing it out. I just find that very
yeah,
ironic.
in her position, and she abused her position of power
Yeah, of
in
course.
this. And again, if this was a guy, if this was Sargon going like, and Anita was in the audience, and Sargon was like, "You're a garbage human being. You're a con artist. You're a blah 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 blah." Bloody hell! She would have said he used his position of power ironically on a panel about harassment to harass me. Blah blah blah. The double standards. It's unreal.
Yeah, yeah. I think we pretty much covered everything. We're almost coming up on an hour. I don't want to keep on this for forever and ever. Um, I'm gonna end on this. Regarding the laws and what we've talked about so far, do you think there's gonna be a change in the future?
Um, I'd like to think so. I'm a believer in like the whole darkest. It's the darkest before the dawn, kind of thing. So I'd like to think so.
Okay, yeah,
But who knows? Maybe
yeah,
it'll get worse. But I think it'll get a bit worse. But then something will happen and it'll get better again. I think it'll get
yeah,
good. It'll something will happen and it'll improve. I think.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you wanna check out Other Face, she makes awesome videos. I put your channel and your Twitter so you can be harassed all the
Thank you for
time.
having me.
So yeah, 54 minutes. I think that's good enough
Cool.
time. I don't want to go on forever and ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to thank you for coming on, and thank you
Yeah, thanks
everyone
for having
for
me.
watching. And see you guys next time. Bye.